Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mimi Folco. I am the tarot reader, astrologer, Reiki practitioner, numerologer, among many other magical things here at Harvey Alchemy. And today we are doing a tarot reading for Venus retrograde in Capricorn. So I think we all know that Mercury goes retrograde about 3 times a year, and we all freak out when it does happen, which is fine because it is kind of worrisome sometimes, especially this year. It was a lot in all the air signs. What's happening December 19th is Venus is going to go retrograde. So all of those things that you've heard about Mercury going retrograde, where there are technology issues and miscommunications and exes are coming back into our lives, this is all kind of happening now with Venus. And so Venus rules our relationships, it rules our self-value, it rules our finances. So all of these themes and many more obviously are gonna be asked to kind of shift within, and you may be asked to reassess what you value in all of those themes, because Venus overarchingly is about value, about what you place your worth on. There's going to be a lot of conversation about what you do deem worthy and what is worth your time, what you want to do for money, what kind of relationships you value and that you want to keep in your life. And it's happening in the sign of Capricorn. So Capricorn isn't a particularly romantic sign, which is why I'm not leaning towards this being an extremely romance-based retrograde, although it certainly could be, because maybe there's some validation that you're seeking that's very Capricornian. But Capricorn is very much about being diligent, about being practical, pragmatic, and having goals and working towards achieving those goals, because it's very success-oriented. So maybe there will be conversations about releasing the need for conventional success, or releasing the need to be validated by others placing that success on you. That's what we're here to find out here in this reading. I want to know what this Venus retrograde in Capricorn is going to be like for you. So just a couple more pieces of information that you should know about Venus retrograde. Before a planet goes retrograde, there's what we call a shadow period, which is essentially the degrees that the planet will be passing over when it goes backwards. So essentially Venus has been going this way for all this time, and on December 19th, it's stopping, and then it's going to be appearing as though it's moving backwards. It's not actually moving backwards, but it looks like it. Like if you imagine you're on a train and then there's a train next to you that's moving forward, you feel like you're moving backwards. That's sort of what a retrograde is. Venus is going to stop, and then it's going to station retrograde, which means it's going to be going back over these points in your chart, and it's going to be releasing kind of backwards effects on all of the things that were happening during this time. So essentially that's the shadow period, and that's going to be from November 18th to December 19th. So if you look back at what was happening in your love life or in your finances, at work, or when it comes to your self-value or what you value, if you look back from November 18th up until December 19th, that's sort of what's being activated and what's being highlighted during the retrograde period, because it's going to be going backwards over all of those themes again. What's also helpful to know is where these points in Capricorn are in your chart. So the points that Venus is starting and stopping at are 26 degrees and 11 degrees. So on November 18th, Venus is at 11 degrees Capricorn, and then it moves all the way up to 26 degrees up to December 19th. And then on December 19th, it's at 26, and then it moves back to 11. Anyway, that's a lot of information about what Venus retrograde is, but I figured it might be helpful for those of you who aren't really in touch with astrology or understand it, and it's very complicated sometimes, so totally understandable if it's a little incomprehensive. But I wanted to explain a little bit what we're going to be doing or reading about. This retrograde is going to be happening from December 19th until January 28th. So a lot of this time is going to be spent on what you value, on relationships, on all of those things that I already talked about. It's going to be over a month long. That's why I think it's pretty important. And you can also listen to this reading at any point during that Venus retrograde to give you some context to what you are doing. Let's get started. I have your piles here on the table. Before we start, I swear this is the last thing. Thank you guys so much for helping me reach 300 subscribers. I did announce my giveaway winner on December 1st. I really appreciate it. I'm going to be doing another giveaway. I will let you guys know about that soon. And if you want to know more, I do more announcements on my Instagram page, which is @mimis.me. I'll put it here below. It's probably already there. And it's also in the description box. So feel free to go follow that for more updates. And also, if you're interested in this sort of astrology update, I literally post stories every day about what's happening in the sky. So go check me out over there if you like that kind of stuff. Let's get to the reading. All right, so here are the piles. Pile 1, you've got this little leaf charm. Pile 2, you've got this truck. And pile 3, we've got this little key. All right, so pile 1, I have got your little leaf charm here. Pretty darn cute. We're going to be looking at what your main focus is going to be, what you need to reassess, what needs reassessment, who's guiding you, and just anything else you might need to know. Okay, so your focus, we got the Ace of Wands and the 3 of Pentacles. So I feel like there is a new project coming in, and I'm feeling work related, I'm feeling finance related, I'm feeling more like the practical side of life, not so much the romance and adventure, because Venus in Capricorn is asking you to see like what you are practically valuing during this time. Are you valuing your efforts? Are you valuing your work? Where you're placing that energy, where you are contributing to society. That's very Capricorn, contribution, being seen as a public figure. So I do feel like doing something, beginning a new project that is inspiring, that actually asks you to put in work that you like value and that you really appreciate, rather than just being another cog in the machine or another rung on the wheel. So instead of, feeding all of your energy towards some big corporation, I feel like this is really asking you to start something new that is just yours, almost like starting your own business, or if you already have your business, like a new venture in that where you really feel like you're more official. Maybe there's some imposter syndrome going on when it comes to your work, or if you are a business owner, where it comes to your business. So yeah, it could be when it comes to work, it could be that you're owning your own business and you need to kind of release that you aren't an actual business, because you are and you're killing it, or at least you should be manifesting that you're killing it. And if it's that you're not self-employed, but you are working for somebody else, is that really where you want to be contributing? Is that job really where you feel your energies lie best? So what you are going to be asked to reassess, or what needs reassessment. That guy fell right off the table. The Sun. Yeah. Is joy practical? Are you feeling like joy is just a luxury? Maybe that's something with Venus in Capricorn, where we all feel like we have to be putting in a lot of hours and working hard and being diligent, being pragmatic. And maybe it's instead, how can you be pragmatic about your self-care? That is very Venus in Capricorn, because Venus rules your self-care. It rules how you decide that you deserve to enjoy yourself and you are worth feeling loved and feeling comfortable. So ask yourself how you feel about self-care. Even when I say that term, some people cringe at the term self-care, and I used to be one of those people. But when you realize what it really does for you and how it holds you and nurtures you and takes care of you, and it's you doing that for yourself, there's really nothing better than you saying like, I care about myself and I don't need anybody else to validate that I am worth caring for. So I do think that maybe your joy needs reassessment during this time. What provides joy for you? How do you feel about living joyfully? Do you kind of think that life should be all about just moving forward and success and goals and climbing the ladder? And if that is so, does it bring you joy? That's really what you are going to be asking yourself, I think, and really reassessing from December 19th to January 28th. It's all about, how can I live joyfully in a way that I still feel like I am contributing, like I am achieving those goals that I set for myself? Because maybe you need goals, okay? And maybe they aren't synonymous with joy, but there is some way that you can bring those two themes together. Let's see what else we'll need a reassessment, or maybe a little clarification on that. Strength. Wow. So we got 2 Leo cards. Sun is ruled by Leo, Strength is ruled by Leo, and they're both majors. So what really needs assessment is the strength that it takes to give up your successes. That's really strong. That how much is winning really bringing to your heart? How much is achieving those goals and succeeding and getting first place? How much joy and how much expression is that really giving you? And maybe joy and expression aren't synonymous for you. Because I have Leo in my chart, I do feel like, oh, when I am joyful, I am expressing, and when I'm expressing, I am joyful. But maybe that's not the case for you. But I do think that whatever you are moving into, this new venture, that you won't feel good at right away. The Three of Pentacles is not a particularly like nuanced, successful, know-it-all card. You're in the planning stages. You don't know it all. You're just looking at it on the board, on the vision board maybe. So be nice to yourself if you feel like you're not great at it right away. I do feel like there's some perfectionist vibes here. And I feel like there are Virgos like cringing in the comments because they're like, oh, just being loosey-goosey, expressing myself like I can't, it doesn't feel right. And that's fine. But maybe that just needs a little bit more assessment of why doesn't that feel good to me? And what does feel good to me? What is my version of joy? What is my version of expression and self-fulfillment and self-care and self-love? So this is really interesting that both Strength and the Sun came up because they're both very Leo. They want to be seen. They want to shine. So maybe there's something about you just feel, again, I'm really feeling this, like, I don't know if anybody's seen The Producers, but just like an accountant who's, you know, just clicking away his hours and not contributing in a way that makes him feel valued or valuable. So instead, to do things that make you feel like you are doing something worthwhile and that brings you a filled heart. That's what I'm really feeling here. Not knocking any accountants. I was a bookkeeper for 5 years and I loved it. So anyway, a little bit about me. Okay, so let's look at who is guiding you during this retrograde period. Who or what is guiding you? Because it could be someone, but it could also be just an energy. It could be a spirit guide or, okay, let's see what came out. Oh, that guy really jumped out. So I think that's who you need to let go of. 10 of Pentacles. Wow, okay, I think there's some really supportive family members that might surprise you, or maybe you know that they're really supporting you, but there's definitely some support coming from family and from the people that you already know are your loved ones. I think there might be some fear about, it's almost like coming out as, hey, I'm actually going to live joyfully and I'm quitting my really boring job, or, you know I'm self-employed, but this is my next project and you're going to think I'm crazy that I'm just starting another thing. But you may feel like they're going to judge you for that, but I actually think they're going to be more supportive than you think they are. And your thinking they're going to judge you is maybe just you projecting your own self-judgment. And so again, it's about filling yourself with that love and setting goals that actually bring you joy. That's very Capricorn, because Capricorn wants to achieve something. It wants to move forward a goal knowing like every step they take is in a direction towards that thing, that destination. And so to be able to say, well, my destination is joy, which is very Leo, then you can actually mesh both of those together and saying that you are worth finding that destination. I'm going to see what that card was that fell down, because I feel like this is almost who you need to stay away from. We got the Empress. So, oh, interesting. So not stay away from, but I think you need to release some of your preconceived notions on what your mother thinks of you, or maybe your mother-in-law or a mother figure, maybe a sister. I'm definitely feeling like female family member, there's some sort of judgment that you feel is coming from them. And it's just saying to me again that you are projecting those emotions onto that person. So that's really interesting. I feel like we worked on this a lot during last Scorpio season, which I know it's been a while, but also has it? I feel like we're all still feeling it. So yeah, I think releasing the fears or the judgments that you are actually putting on yourself. Maybe nobody else is even thinking those things. So last, let's look at what more you need to know. Is there anything that I missed that needs saying? There is 8 of Wands and the Page of Pentacles. You may feel like you have no idea where you're going, and that is okay. No decisions need to be made during this retrograde period. It's just a noticing of what is coming up and what you are giving your mental energy to. Where are you placing this reassessment energy? And you may feel that by reassessing, you are totally giving up on everything that you've built. But I don't think that's the case. I think you might feel a little bit lost. You may feel like a newbie again, which is seriously no fun, especially for a Capricorn. It's a cardinal sign. It's a success-oriented sign. So allowing yourself to just let the thoughts flow and let yourself think about, well, what if I tried this kind of situation? So being kind to yourself, definitely. I mean, the Empress came up, so maybe being your own kind of motherly figure and giving yourself that self-care, self-love, nurturing. But yeah, a lot of this is pointing towards you may feel like you don't know enough. You may feel like you don't have what it takes to start this new project, to start this new journey. But that's just not the case, because I think you have so much strength within you, right? With all those Leo cards that came up. And then you've got all this support, this 10 of Pentacles here that is so much support and might even be financial support, right? Pentacles is money. So you are actually in a very good place to reassess. And reassess doesn't mean that you're starting anew, right? I would say don't even make a huge decision until January 28th. You can make a decision. Venus doesn't really affect it that much, although other astrologers might not agree, which is fine. Whatever works for you. But for me personally, I don't think that a Venus retrograde is a bad time to make a decision, because it's when you're actually sitting within the most and like seeing what you do value. So know that you are well supported. You have what it takes, right? She has all of these wands. She just, they may not be in her hand right now, but she does have them on hand, you know, so she can access them, and you can too. All right, that is your Venus retrograde reading. I hope that was helpful for you. I hope that you really allow yourself to be a beginner. Don't judge yourself too harshly. Be kind to yourself. Give yourself that love. See how the word self-care sits in your body. How do you feel about it? And maybe think of another term that makes you feel more comfortable if self-care doesn't work for you. All right, I love to hear from you guys, so make sure that you drop in the comments below. Let me know how you're doing, how this resonated, and how this Venus retrograde is going for you. So sending you guys a lot of love. Bye. Hello, pile 2. I've got your little truck charm here. It looks like a little Ford truck to me. Pretty cute. So we're going to be looking at what your focus is going to be on mostly for this Venus retrograde, what needs assessment, who's guiding you during this, and then just anything else you might need to know during this time. So let's get started. What is your focus for this Venus retrograde period from December 19th to January 28th? We've got the Knight of Swords. Let's see what else comes up too. Ooh. And we've got the Five of Swords. Interesting. So a lot of air energy. I just kind of want to sit with this for a moment. Let me show you these cards though. This Knight of Swords, flighty, very flighty. So there's definitely something about changing the way that you're perceiving or changing the way that you are like seeing. I do feel like this is about relationships. Not that these cards said anything regarding relationships, but I just felt that really come through. That there's something that needs changing when it comes to your relationships. And not that the relationship itself is bad, but just that there's something within your thought processes that need to be shifted when it comes to your partner or your friendships or your partnerships, like in work. But definitely this is about relationships. I see this here. Maybe there's something that you're chasing. Maybe you're chasing adventure. Maybe you're looking towards something more exciting. You know, maybe you've reached that point in a relationship where you're so committed and it's so comfortable and cozy. And, you know, some fear is coming up of, well, is this it? And how do I commit? Maybe there's some fear of commitment going on. So having to change the way that you do see your relationship, I think is going to be really important for you. A card did fall off the table. I'm just curious what that is. The Eight of Swords. Wow. So all of these swords. Yeah. So not seeing your reflection very clearly. So maybe it's also your relationship to yourself and your body, the way that you're seeing your physical body, the way that you appreciate yourself, the way that you call yourself beautiful or ugly, or, you know, how do you feel about your physical body? That might be coming up a lot during Venus and Capricorn. Especially because Venus does rule our physical body. It rules our femininity. It rules our perception of self. And Capricorn rules society. And so maybe you're feeling these really strong societal pressures to look a certain kind of way. I know, I mean, especially all women and certainly men and all non-binary folks are dealing with what they're supposed to look like and how they are supposed to represent themselves while still fitting into like a mold. And I think we're all sort of breaking that mold. That's an Age of Aquarius thing for sure. And let me know if you're interested in an Age of Aquarius reading, because I'm kind of into that idea. Anyway, so there is sort of this need to look at yourself in the mirror, and instead of placing the blame elsewhere, right? By running away, you're sort of saying like, well, you're the issue, so I'm out, kind of thing. So instead of placing the blame elsewhere, look at yourself. And I'm not saying to blame yourself. That's never really that conducive, but to hold accountability for some of the things that might be up to you, that maybe your mind was wired in this certain way. And there's a way to retrain the mind when it comes to these kinds of things, especially when it comes to like relationships with parents being a little bit harder, and then those affecting your current romantic relationships. There is a need to retrain the way that you speak to yourself, because if you did have an abusive or less than loving and nurturing parent, you likely have an inner monologue or an inner voice that speaks to you the way that that parent did. And so I think there's a need to like release some of those binds and let go of them. And you'll find freedom. You'll find freedom in this way, but not with escaping. You won't have to escape. You can still be in a loving partnership or relationship, or have this great friendship, or have great work relationships without escaping, without running away. So instead of chasing, that greener grass that's over on the other side of the hill, you can acknowledge the beauty that is within your life right now. So this reading, what you're focusing on is definitely your perception of your physical self. So your self-consciousness, or your insecurities, or just your body positivity. And then also with your relationships, I think there's a way to shift the way that you're perceiving your relationships, and seeing how possibly you can take some of the accountability for how the relationships have evolved into maybe this scarier thing that you're not a fan of anymore. And obviously I'm a proponent of, if you are in an abusive relationship, get out of there, obviously. But I do think that in just a regular partnership where there is love, there is nurture, there is companionship, but there just is fear in the back of your mind saying, this isn't it, I can't commit, I have to run away. I think maybe there's a need to shift the way that your brain thinks about these things. So that is your focus. That's actually a pretty long reading for the focus, but there's a lot that needed to be said there. So let's look at what needs reassessment. The Tower and the Sun. Wow. So we've got the Tower here, and we've got the Sun here. So the Tower is all about the unexpected, and about disruption, and also destruction. So what habits do you have that are self-destructive in your relationships with others, but also in your relationships to yourself? How do you speak negatively to yourself when you look in the mirror, when you see your hair and you're having a bad hair day, and you say you're worthless because your hair looks bad, right? And that sounds so silly when I say it out loud. But I mean, I feel like everybody has this, because we're all trying to fit into this mold that society has created for us, to look in the mirror and to say like, oh, your hair looks bad, therefore you are bad. How silly is that? And yet we all kind of do it. Not always with hair. I'm a Leo rising, so sure, maybe sometimes my hair makes me feel bad. But, we all have those things that we're insecure about. And because we're insecure about the physical body, we then start to feel insecure about our self-worth, which is very Venusian. So looking at our self-worth. So those self-destructive behaviors, letting go of some of those self-destructive behaviors, because this running away never really solves anything. Running away from problems just means that you're actually running towards new problems. All right, so then we come to the Sun here. I almost feel like this destructiveness, this disruption is caused by joy, when you are having a good time, when you are happy with your life. I know I get this way too. This reading is like partly for me, because a lot of the times when I'm living really joyfully, I say there must be something wrong. This is too good to be true, right? Living with that mentality of things can't be this good, so I have to run away, or I have to create some sort of destructiveness or disruption, right? So allowing yourself to say, I am worthy of joy. I accept joy. I am willing to live joyfully. I'm willing to be happy, and I'm willing to just be present in my relationships rather than looking so deeply into every little fear that comes into your head. And it's great to assess your fears. It's great to acknowledge your fears. Maybe not assess, but it's great to acknowledge that the fears exist, make friends with them, and then set your boundaries with your fears. That was a huge one for Scorpio season. But now we're in Sag season, so let yourself enjoy this. And we are going to be going into Capricorn season when Venus is retrograde. And if you're listening to this when Venus is in retrograde, then yeah, it's not Sag season anymore. We're being really diligent. We're being really pragmatic and practical. But know that this card came up for you. So it is about living with some joy and being present in your relationships and loving, you know? So that's what needs reassessment, is the way that you cause disruption when things seem to be too good to be true. Or when things are just fine, you know, when you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you look fine, you look great, but why do you cause that negative self-talk? So who is going to be guiding you? And I actually want to look at who or what is guiding you, because it might not be a person. We've got the moon that popped out, and we've got the 8 of voices, which is the 8 of swords. So again, this 8 of swords came up. Who or what is guiding you? I think you're going to get really tired of this negativity, of this conversation with yourself, of this restriction and constraint that you're putting on yourself by having these conversations with yourself that are less than loving. And the moon here, really, I feel like sitting in the body is really going to be prevalent for you. I think it's important for you to sit in the body, sit in the feelings of it all, be really in touch with that emotional and receptive and more feminine side, so that you can tap into that intuition, so that you can be your most authentic self, so that you can recognize your cycles and your patterns. The moon is all about your habits, your patterns, right? It's a 28-day cycle. So every 28 days, the moon is back into the sign that it was 4 weeks earlier. So we are all used to these kind of mood swings. So recognizing those patterns within yourself is going to be really helpful. I think the new and full moon is going to be really good for you. The day that this comes out, it is actually the new moon in Sagittarius. But we're going to be having like 4 to 6 new and full moons during Venus retrograde. So really pay attention to how those are making you feel, how you're being affected by those lunations. So let's look at, what more do you need to know? Is there anything that I missed? These guys want to come out. 7 of Pentacles and 10 of Pentacles. What's so interesting is that some of the cards that came up for you also came up for pile 2, but in very different contexts, which was really interesting, and just a testament to tarot and how incredible it can be. So we've got the 7 of Pentacles and the 10 of Pentacles here. Really, I think what you need to know about this, like if you didn't resonate with any of this, or if you did resonate with a lot of it, the main focus and the main thing you need to look at is how you can value yourself, and how you can call yourself worthy of blah, blah, blah. You can call yourself beautiful. You can call yourself successful, you know, being really kind to yourself and being honest with yourself about the ways that you aren't kind to you. So really reaching this zenith. And I feel like protecting yourself here too. Protecting yourself from maybe people who make you feel less than loving to yourself. People who make you feel like you are not worthy, like you are not beautiful. Protect yourself against them. You know, protect your beauty, protect your value, protect your love for yourself. That's what's really important here. All right, I hope that was helpful. I hope you have a wonderful Venus retrograde in Capricorn. It's going to be very interesting for us all. So let me know in the comments below how it's affecting you, how you're feeling this shadow period, or what this reading, kind of if it resonated or how it made you feel. So sending you guys a lot of love. I will see you next time. Bye. Hello, pile 3. I have got your little key here. So let's see, we're going to be looking at mainly what your focus is going to be and what needs assessment, who's guiding you during this whole retrograde period, and just anything else that you might need to know. So let's look at what your main focus is. Okay, hold on. We've got the 6 of Inspiration, which is the 6 of Wands, and then a couple other ones fell out. Mainly the World was right at the top. So I'm going to pay attention to that. Maybe look at the other ones a little bit, but I'm really feeling these guys are strongest. So the 6 of Wands and the World. I think there's going to be a huge focus on what you are contributing to the world and how you want to be seen, if you want to be seen. I almost feel like if you're a public figure and people are seeing you all of the time, do you appreciate it? Do you like that you have that connection with everybody? Or do you sort of want to cut yourself off from that whole world, from that connection? I do think that for some of you, you do need to be seen. You do need to let yourself shine a little bit and come out of the cave and really like explore your public persona in a way. So if you are, you know, on social media a lot and you are working on social media, let people see your face more. You know, let people really see you and let yourself shine. Stop dimming your light for others, definitely. Even if you're not a public figure, I think that's really prevalent, of not letting your light really dim out, because then it'll look like other people aren't shining as much. And then this world, I think there's such a focus on what the world thinks of you. And the world can mean the entire planet Earth, or it can mean your world, your community, your space, your social media channel. So really a lot about focusing on, well, how do other people see me? How am I representing myself authentically and accurately? Versus how do I want other people to see me? Do I want to have a persona? Do I want to have a character? So that's sort of your focus here. And that can be in your relationships too, of, well, am I really giving my full self to my relationships, or am I sort of giving them a curated version of who I want them to see me as? So let's see what needs reassessment during this time. I feel like there's a lot to unpack here. What needs reassessment? The Eight of Swords. Wow, it's really been coming up. The Two of Cups and the Two of Wands. Wow. So I think maybe there's a little bit of denial somewhere. We're going to get into it a little bit more because I haven't felt this yet. But I do think that there's some sort of denial or some form of like protecting yourself or preserving yourself is really important. I also just got that like someone out there is like canning jars. They like preserve food. So if that's you, this reading is definitely for you. Anyway, that just came to me. So we've got this Eight of Swords, and then we've got these two twos, the Two of Cups and the Two of Wands. And it almost feels like there's this big push and pull about whether or not you want to be a feeling, emotional, receptive, communicative person versus whether you want to be an adventurous and fiery and exciting. So I almost feel like there's some water fire placements out there. I know I have a friend who's a Pisces Sun, Sag Moon, and there is this huge push and pull of like, I just want to sit within and like, you know, converse with the entire universe, but then my Sag Moon just wants to explore and wants to be fiery and wants to be adventurous. So there's sort of that dichotomy, and there's such a duality for you of a push and pull of, do I want to really talk about my feelings here and make strong connections with very few people, or do I want to explore, be adventurous, maybe less on the emotional side, but I make a lot of small connections with a lot of people. So it's sort of like the quantity or quality question that you are going to be asking yourself of, do I want to have a lot of acquaintances as friendships, or do I want to have fewer friends, but that those are really strong connections, really good, solid, strong friendships there? So I think there's something there about, you know, there's sort of a decision that needs to be made there. And I think maybe there's some denial about some of the people in your life that maybe you're trying to force into being an acquaintance, or force them into being a really strong connection where maybe there isn't so much of a connection. And I'm not saying that you are to blame, right? I don't believe in like blaming yourself. I do believe in holding space for being accountable and holding yourself accountable. So where maybe you don't see it as the intention of blaming somebody, but you do maybe push these expectations on somebody to be somebody that they're not. So, you know, there is sort of this push and pull of like, how do you want people to see you? Do you want people to see you as the shining star, as this persona, or do you want to make really strong connections based on your authentic self and who you truly are? That's really the conversation here. I feel like it's almost like acting, right? I feel like there's actor placements here of, again, just, do I want to be the character, or do I want to be authentically me? All right, let's see who is guiding you, who or what is guiding you, because it could be an energy. All right, we've got the Five of Pentacles and the Devil. How interesting. So the Devil is ruled by Capricorn. And the Five of Pentacles, I sort of see this as like the pity party card. So a lot of the time it's like, you can get yourself out of this. Again, I'm not, I don't want to blame you for anything, but at the same time, you can get up and you can walk out the door. There's no lock here. And you literally have the key because you picked the key charm. So you do have the key to get yourself out of this situation. But I think that there are sort of societal pressures that are asking you to like fit into this mold, or to be somebody that fits for them, and maybe it's not exactly authentically you. And so I think there is sort of another pressure, an external pressure that's asking you to be somebody that you're not. That's what's guiding you, because it's pushing you. It's pushing and motivating you towards being the better version of yourself. It's giving you the opportunity to feel, I know that sounds so cringy, it's like every challenge is an opportunity, but it's true, because it's giving you the opportunity to feel stressed and to feel pressured, and to recognize that you feel stressed and pressured and that you don't want to feel this way anymore, and to move through it and to say, I'm going to be living my life more authentically me, because then I feel less pressured to fit whatever it is the devil is telling me to be like, this devil here. So I do think there's sort of like this puppeteering that needs to happen. And I do think that there's like a curated version of yourself that you've been giving others. And so I'm not saying that you have to stop that. I'm saying that there's definitely a push and pull between whether you want to continue that curated self, or whether you want to be more authentically you and really make strong, real connections with other people. So that's up to you to decide. I think that's what's really coming up for you in this Venus retrograde. So let's see what else you need to know. Oops. All right, we got the Six of Wands again. So yeah, there was definitely something else that needed unpacking here. I think self-validation, self-worth and self-validation are kind of different, because self-worth is a little bit quieter. It's just like knowing that you are worthy. Self-validation is more saying like, I don't need other people to clap for me because I'm going to clap for myself. So I think for you, you need to validate the things that you're doing, the actions that you're taking, and you need to validate your authentic self. So I do think that there is like a choice that needs to be made, and I know which choice I would go for. I know which choice I would tell you to go for, because being your most authentic self is going to cause a lot less burnout. You're going to be a lot less drained, because you're just going to be you and you don't have to keep up some facade. I know that's not an option for everybody, especially if you are a public figure, but I think that self-validation could be really, really helpful for you during this Venus in Capricorn. Capricorn isn't known for being a very like emotional sign at all, but there are a lot of emotions in self-validation. And something that Capricorn really does have to learn on this planet, if you have any Capricorn placements, this is for you definitely, is that you don't need society to tell you that you've succeeded. What you need to learn is how to tell yourself that you've succeeded, and how to tell yourself that you are worthy of winning that first spot, whether you are good or bad at that certain thing. And so that self-validation is going to be really, really important for you. I hope that was helpful for you. I hope you have a really wonderful Venus retrograde. I know it might be a little bit tough. It might feel really strained, stressful, pressured, but just know that it'll be over by the end of January of 2022. And then we get to experience that stationing direct, where everything gets to move forward a lot more. So I will see you guys next time. Thank you. Bye.